Welcome back, hopefully, or welcome for the first time, to A Filthy Talk, A Filthy Lot's live weekly panel discussion show. We are coming at you live from A Filthy Lot Studios in North Vancouver on Indigenous land. We'd like to acknowledge the privilege to work, play, and create on such beautiful lands. So, we're back. You may have noticed our absence for the last couple of weeks. And what happened is we had a close encounter of the COVID kind. So we shut the studio down for a couple of weeks, and in cooperation with local health authorities,
Vancouver Coastal Health and Fraser Health.
Yep.
Yes, it's great.
We conducted contact tracing, and we had all the appropriate parties isolate. And because of our preventative measures and protocols, we were able to contain the situation from getting out of control. And we're back now, and we have enhanced our preventative measures and
everyone's
protocols.
doing better.
And everyone is doing better.
Everyone's getting healthy, which is important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our filthy family's health is very important to us. So we have done everything we can to ensure that we all stay safe during these very strange times.
Well, and like you just said, like work, play, create are all the things we want to do, but safely.
Yeah.
It's a global pandemic, and it's just impacting everybody. And you can't let up. You have to have constant vigilance.
Yep. And the show must go on mentality doesn't always apply when it comes to risking people's lives. So yeah, but we're back.
And we have business.
We have business. We have business. Giveaways. So 3-4 weeks ago. Oh wow. Okay. So for the people who qualified for the 2001 Space Odyssey.
That is a hat, son.
I know. Oh, thank you, costumes. That's not gonna stand.
Let's do this.
Here for now. Your names are in this hat. Roz, please draw a winner. Oh yeah, I'm Trevor Gemma. This is Roz Young, and as fact checker and chat liaison, we have Ryan Whyte.
Ryan, you cad.
Drum roll.
Da-da-da. Ooh.
Who is our winner for 2001 A Space Odyssey 4K Ultra?
Our winner is David Sanchez.
David Sanchez. Okay, congratulations.
Why does it say Star Wars? Is that
they
is his middle name Sanchez and his last name is Star Wars?
David Star Wars Sanchez.
He's an MMA fighter, and that's his. Name. No,
Great.
it's because we had people list for this giveaway their favorite fandom.
Oh,
and,
great. I know the rules and what we're doing.
That one was Star Wars, so there you go. So that's yours, and that's kind of appropriate, like space stuff. There you go. And we have another giveaway.
More prizes!
We are giving away a Blu-ray copy of the Sonic the Hedgehog live-action movie with Jim Carrey and what's his name?
You know what they did not lean into?
James Marsden?
Yes.
What?
Cyclops?
Cyclops.
The fact that it's Blu-ray and he's blue. I feel like there could have been more advertising.
Yeah.
It's opportunities missed.
No.
Rays are as fast as light. It's like a perfect tie-in. What the heck, guys?
Right?
Similar rules to last time. This one is available to win to the viewers at home. You just need to subscribe to a Filthy Lot YouTube channel and comment on this video after it's live with Sonic giveaway and tell us what your favorite game adaptation has been in TV shows or movies.
Good question. What's yours?
Ooh.
What's Ryan's?
Do you mean adaptation of game into show or movie, or adaptation of movie or show into game?
We're going game to movie because of this. Yeah.
Oh, because if we were going to say show,
Witcher.
I mean... Witcher.
Oh.
Ryan says Witcher.
Oh, yeah,
That's a good one.
okay. I haven't watched
the
that
first
yet.
Resident Evil movie is also excellent.
The first ever, yeah, I would agree.
Have you played
Resident
The
Evil was
Witcher?
really good.
You haven't watched The Witcher?
No, I haven't. Or played it.
Trevor! Go home right now and start playing The Witcher.
I have a show to host. So I would, but...
Yeah, but should you? I mean...
Ouch. You know what my favorite adaptation is? We're going to be talking about it all day. Later in the show. But before we get there, to finish more business, we at A Filthy Lot have our own variant cover of Undone by Blood or The Other Side of Eden. This is very exciting. I'm like, hee about it.
I love when Nor poked his head into the office today as we were.
Oh, he went nuts.
Like, ah!
have a variant copy. So this is a variant cover done by artist Francesco Francavilla. I hope I'm saying that right. And there are only 500 of these worldwide. There's only 500. You can't buy them. You can only get them here or wherever we send them to. If they feel like selling it to you or something, then there you go. But
It's so beautiful.
yeah, and on the back, it plugs our Drawn and Cornered comic book show hosted by our own N.A. Razak, which season 2 starts this Sunday on our fandom channel. Now, if you are interested in having one of these lovely, completely, what's the word? Exclusive. So exclusive, so collectible. Look, limited to 500 copies. If you would like to win your own copy, we have one of our new channels has already launched. It is a Filthy Fandom on YouTube. So you have to subscribe to that channel, and they're going to be randomly giving them away to subscribers. So stay tuned to that channel to find out how you can get your own copy of this. That's it for business. So
That's it for old and sorting out business.
Yes.
And now it's on to show business.
Yes. Geez. Before we get there, nerd news is our thing. What's new for nerd news? It's been a while since we were here. We'll do this quick.
Okay, first, I finally watched WandaVision, and it is as good as you were telling me it would be.
It's amazing.
And I don't want to talk too much about it because the last episode had a bunch of spoiler stuff in it, and people have been sharing it online, and shame on you. Shame on you if you're giving away the spoilers after less than a week. I think that's
of an
uncool.
ongoing show. That's fair.
Yeah.
Especially, so the one thing I do want to talk about from WandaVision that is something that they handled, it's only like 4 episodes in, I think, is when they did it. The way that they handle what they call the blip, like when Thanos snapped everyone away in Infinity War, and then in an Endgame when Hulk snaps everyone back, the craziest thing about it is that if you got snapped away and you get snapped back, you come back in the exact same place where you left. If I was sitting in this chair and got snapped away, I'd be right here. Or 5 years later, so is this chair even here? Like, they don't address enough of it. Like, people get like run into each other and that kind of thing. But like, what about people in airplanes? Like, if you're just flying along and you get snapped away, do you get snapped back in?
Oh yeah,
up in the sky and just plummet to your death?
They all not making it.
Right? So there's they added a level of drama that I want to see more of, because that was really cool.
Yeah, and the characters, we've got the character, we got Rambo, we saw her as a little girl in Captain Marvel, so that's super cool.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
she's great so far.
not a spoiler, first episode.
Other thing, it's still nerdy, it's science, is Perseverance.
Or Percy to its friends.
Perseverance, the rover, the newest rover to land on Mars. That was very cool. Did anyone watch it live? I totally did.
Ryan, but you're super into space stuff. I'm sure have you seen at least the pan?
Oh, I've seen all of it. I just didn't watch it live.
So I had an
Amazing.
interesting thought, because they were like, watch the live stream. And I went, how live is this? Because it's coming from Mars. And when I was a kid and you called my brother used to live in Hawaii, and I called him in Hawaii, and there was a delay, like a good few second delay to Hawaii. How long is the delay to Mars? Like, is this live? And I had to look it up.
Or played bass for that, delay to Mars.
Delay to Mars. How long do you guys think the broadcast delay from Mars is?
You know the answer, don't you?
I do.
Yes.
I had to look it up.
3 minutes.
4.
11.
Ooh.
Yeah, 11 minutes. So you weren't actually watching the live stream. You were watching 11 minutes after. Basically, we were watching a NASA Reacts video, is what that was. Because it was also completely autonomous.
It's so cool.
Because of the 11-minute delay, there's all those people at their stations, but they weren't doing anything. The entire landing procedure of that thing,
do some work, NASA.
It was, No, they programmed it. But all of those people were just watching and going and monitoring stuff, but they can't send commands to correct.
It's like little cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Go team.
They're watching their project come to a conclusion, which is still exciting.
My favorite thing about Perseverance is that it has a mini helicopter. Why did I say that weird?
Helicopter?
It has a helicopter. It has a helicopter with it. So it will be the first.
Like a drone?
Yeah, it'll be the first powered flight on another planet.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Right?
That's very cool. Wow. Ryan,
One thing I was kind of excited for is, I don't know if either of you have ever watched Avatar or The Legend of Korra.
Yeah.
Kind of kids cartoons, but they're also
My
pretty
cabbages.
amazing. And there was another show that the original creators were involved in a couple of years ago, The Dragon Prince, and then they left. And it was okay. I tried to watch. It's not great. But they have just set up a brand new animation studio helmed by those same two dudes to create a bunch more content in the Avatar universe, which I think is pretty exciting.
Oh, that's very exciting. I didn't
with
know
the
that.
original two dudes. So
Nice.
That's very exciting. Okay.
Great. That's big news.
So, we've spent long enough alone on the stage. It is time to bring out our guests and get into the meat of today's episode. So joining us first, you have seen him before on a couple different Filthy Talks, and I didn't prep this intro. I apologize.
I don't know. He's just some guy.
Okay. Writer, performer, editor,
scientist.
You've seen him as fact checker on many of these. Matt Baker.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt.
Hello.
Welcome back to the show, sir.
Oh, it's always good to be here.
Yeah.
We need entrance music.
And what?
We need entrance music.
Yeah, we do. You're right.
Cool.
I think we should.
Wrestling themes.
Yeah, right?
Even if we should get some canned applause. That'd be fun.
And booze.
See who
I
wants
thought
to
you meant liquor, and I was like, yeah, that works.
And joining us for the first time on the show, which I'm sorry it took this long. We're 32 episodes in. Our studio production designer, Jeremy Andruschak. Oh, I should have asked how to say it. Andruschak? Nailed it?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Woo!
Ryan, you could sing me on it if you want.
Ooh.
You wanted some play on music?
I don't want to, but I could,
Yeah,
theoretically.
So, thank you guys for being here. And what we are getting into today, so title of the episode is It's Time to Raise the Curtain. And what we are raising the curtain on, we've had little snippets and hints of it before, but our flagship show is called Ready to Roll. And it is something we're still in the progress of shooting, but we're gonna start telling you guys at home a little bit about it, and we're really excited to do so. So today we're getting into the world building aspect of basically Dungeons and Dragons is what we were playing, and
Yeah, this is how we started.
Yes.
Like where it all began.
yeah, and the world that we play in, we've mentioned it before, it's called Altero. It is a homebrew world created by Roz Young and Matt Baker, and it is amazing, and it is freaking in depth and super impressive. And we're going to be talking about the production design and the set builds that we've done so far, and will continue to do in the future, for the show, and that's why Jeremy's here. So, how are we going to start this?
I know.
I'm excited. I'm tripping over words.
Trevor, when you asked me to come on a Filthy Talk and talk about role playing, I didn't prepare anything for this. I told my parents not to watch.
Oh, okay.
I brought this ball gag, and
Yeah, I just
We'll save those notes for later.
yeah.
Okay, so where should we start? I mean, let's start with the world itself that we built to play in. I mean, that you guys built, that we get to play in, and thank you for that. Because
Oh man,
so much
thank
fun.
you guys.
Yeah, it was. I would have been building it anyways, so it was great to actually use it.
Well, that's the thing is we have this homebrew world, which is super fun for us. We expand it every time we play D&D with friends, and we often will encourage people to, I'll DM or we'll co-DM sometimes. And the way we do it is we go to a place in the world that we had never been before. And that way, as our players make decisions and ask us questions, it's like discovering a place that doesn't exist in a video game yet, It's like full of fog until we literally walk into it with players. And then they're like, hey, what's up the road? And we're like, what is up the road? Yeah. And then we figure it out together, and that's just amazing. And then to have to, play with you guys and start that out, but then come to Jeremy and be like, so this all exists only in our heads right now, and in some extremely thorough documentation and some reference images, but I think we're gonna build it.
Okay, so you just teed up a question that I wrote down that is for, so as you mentioned, you and Matt co-DM in this world a lot, or have, but for the game that we played, so I should tell you guys at home, basically we played what we're calling a season's worth of gameplay about a year and a half
So much time ago.
It was a while ago, and we did that so that it became our script, and we're using the script like the gameplay to do reenactments of what happened in the game, but like full fantasy realization. And we needed the script before we could do anything. So we did that a while back, and when we started doing our reenactments, our first block of reenactment shooting was when COVID first hit. So we got a huge derailment and a massive delay in production. So that's why we're still so heavily going into it. Little info for you at home. But okay, the question that I had
It's so exciting and fun. What a challenge.
Where'd it go?
Oh,
I'm
questions.
sorry. Oh, okay. So when we played the game, we kept the players in the dark intentionally so that we could have authenticity in our gameplay. But I wanted to ask Jeremy and Roz, at what point did story development by the DM, because you were solo DMing and Matt was a player, at what point did the story development by the DM need to make concessions due to the fact that we needed to realize and build locations and sets?
That is a very good question.
I actually have a really, like a memory in my head that pops up immediately. And that was during the gameplay. So we'd already started filming and recording the gameplay at this point. And we had kind of already established a plan with myself and Roz and Julian, our props master, who had been building models of all the worlds.
Yep.
And immediately, because of the nature of D&D and the fact that you guys can do anything you want at any time, it completely deviated from that plan. And I remember I was talking to Roz just before one of the next gameplay shoots, and she was saying, well, they might go here, like, could we build this, could we build that? And I kind of just said, you know what, it doesn't matter at this point, just let them go wherever they want to go, describe it however you like, we'll deal with that later, we'll build it later when they get there. You know, like that's a discussion for another time. And I think that strategy kind of worked. Like,
oh, nice.
You know, you guys went to some amazing places that no one had planned for. And then now we're kind of in this
It'll
point
be
now
so
where
fun to share the document that Jeremy and I worked on. So I would do, like I had the big breakdown of everything going on in the world, and then I would share it with each week, you know, with the key members of the team who were allowed to know what was happening and be like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. I think it will go here, and we'll plan this out. And in the beginning, we tried really hard to be organized that way, but you guys instantly went in not where we wanted. So it kind of fell apart really quickly, especially with some of the bigger piece things. I mean, we did settle on some big parts of the story and the world early on, and that's related to where we were setting the place.
Yeah.
So we decided to set our gameplay, in case we wanted to film exterior in the actual world around us, the part of our world that looks the most like BC.
Okay, that's another question that I was going to ask is so you're talking about how your guys' gameplay that you've done with other groups of friends over time kind of informs the world of Altero. I mean, we should be showing, we have some stuff prepared to show you guys some of the work you've done to develop.
Right.
Please, Matt, tell us some stuff.
Oh man, so Matt, this is his first like sketch, one of the early sketches of what Altero would look like on a map.
Yeah, I think it is the first one, because I generally draw the maps by just sitting down with a piece of paper and sort of letting it go. I knew that I wanted the huge crater, and I did a whole bunch of research into what happens at the different size of craters from asteroid hits and the very largest ones, which is why there's that ring in the center, because they don't just create a crater, they actually create a mountain that comes up.
Like a water drop, like when you drop water into water and then there's that blip that pops up?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So that kind of dictated those features, and then you can see the red and blue here. I like to go in and figure out where all the ocean currents would probably be based on it being roughly the size of Earth and having sort of the same angled tilt and rotation. And then once I know where all that is, then I can decide, you know, over here we've got cold water coming up, so this is desert on this side. We got warm currents coming down, so this is more rainforest and stuff. And then once I know those things, then you can start building the cultures that live in the areas, because it'll be very informed by what they have access to.
And I love to name things. So as soon as Matt starts being like, this is kind of what this area looks like, then we jump in together, and he did a colored map so that we could break it out into the countries. You know, continents, countries, start naming things, figuring out what the cultures are like that are in all these places. And then we were like, well, what part of the world is the most like BC? And we set our whole story for our campaign in Kaiman, which is way up here, near some mountains.
See, that one of my questions was going to be, how did you pick the place to set the campaign in?
Yeah.
And was that the defining thing? Was what's most like BC in case we're shooting in the exteriors, that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's probably not the place that's most like BC. It's actually more similar to Northern Europe, but something we could conceivably fake, like similar trees, as long as we weren't going to, like, redwood forests and stuff.
So is there ever any fear from you guys, like, allowing us to do what we're doing in your world, that, like, it's altering something that you already had existing, or is it more welcome?
I've definitely had those concerns because I tend to be a bit of a control freak.
I can confirm that is true.
But
look at, he did this beautiful translate our map onto a globe to make sure it works. So,
Yeah, because the way I drew it is just flat, and it was like that wouldn't have to work. So I had to warp the entire thing to fit it around a globe so I could actually figure out how it fits and, like, actual distances between things.
Is this a level of, like, detail that you've experienced from DMs you've played with, or is this just you?
I don't know. I haven't talked to people about that. I certainly think authors and stuff would go into a similar level of
and
detail.
a lot of authors who use a Dungeons and Dragons game to build their world, and then they write a book in it. They would do this kind of thing. And maybe it's what you're interested in the most, because I know that Sam, who plays with us and is a crackerjack DM, he does a ton of world building, and he gets really in depth. But I think he's really into politics, so he really does a lot of the, like, socio-political stuff going on in the world.
Sorry, I jumped on you there. You were talking about stretching this to make a globe, because this is amazing.
Roz, can I ask you how you went through and named everything? Because there's, like, at least 50 on the previous map, like 50 to 60.
Oh man, yeah. There's so many names for things. I'm gonna pop back just to be like that world there. And that is just the main, like, a capital in each of the countries. And then most of these places, if we've played in them, they have named rivers, other cities, towns, like mountains, major features are named, especially in Prelus, which is a couple countries over from Kaiman, where I did a NaNoWriMo, which is write a novel in a month.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I set it in our world so that I could build it out. And then I was like, Matt, I need all these things figured out. And I was like, I need a city here, and then the river, and a bunch of places, and then another city, and name everything and make it for me. And he's like, okay.
Generally, for going with the names, we do a lot of looking up of different languages and seeing what kind of letters and sounds are in them, and then combining them from all different things, and choosing, like, what sorts of letters do you see for certain sounds to make it different. A lot of the stuff in Kaiman is actually based on, like, Estonian and Finnish, I think, mixed with some, like, Germanic stuff, but, like.
Cool.
But then we decided it was a place where they used to have lots of dragon attacks. So a lot of the ways that we decided things about their, the way they build, is, it used to be like this to protect from dragons, but now it's kind of the opposite to that, so that they're all like, oh, that was the old way things would look. Now we're not scared of dragons anymore.
It's kind of funny, the actual town we played in, Elurin, is not representative of what the rest of that country's stuff would look like, because it's a more modern town where they're trying to shake off that from the past, and so they use more wood. Traditionally, there's very little wood in the rest of the country because it would be burned down by dragons in the past. And they're like, we don't need to worry about that anymore. So it's less like circular, sunken things, and they're starting to build up and use wood. And
this is the kind of conversations that we were having with Jeremy, so that he would know what he was supposed to be building with.
How much of Elurin and Kaiman had been developed before our campaign?
Elurin is new to this campaign.
It is?
Yes.
Oh, very cool.
I
didn't know that.
The city Rake that's nearby, where you guys started out, which isn't in, it was in pre-game. Like, we played a bunch of games where you guys did go through Rake, and you had, your visit to Zelmax, Emporium of Wonders.
Oh, yeah, I got to plug Zelmax. Another time.
Yep. That's in Rake. So Rake existed, which is the nearby largest city.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's, couple like ancient cities and stuff that were developed. We talk in the game about like the Lek Empire. So we have like the whole history of that, and we knew where like that capital was originally. And like, I've got a whole crazy history of like different battles that took there, because there's
sweet.
Kymond and Chermios both think they deserve it. So it's actually this really weird, crazy, barricaded city.
We're not playing there, thank goodness, Jeremy.
Saw your hand up, Ryan?
Yeah, I just had a personal question from something Roz said a while back. So you guys play in Altero with other groups, and this is more just my ignorance of D&D, but do things that happen in, like, or have things that have happened in those sessions with other players crossed over into our gameplay session, or does that sort of thing ever happen? Like, would something that happened in our run through and Ready to Roll in the world then affect what you guys are doing with the other groups that you're playing in world?
They haven't signed releases, so.
To some extent, yeah. Mostly it's that as they're in there, we sort of fill out the details of the towns and countryside and stuff as they're going through it. But you know, sometimes they make things happen that we never expected, and then we'll incorporate those things into it. Or, you know, sometimes they decide someone's the big bad who is not the big bad, and you're like, okay, this person is now a significant historical figure. In
Oh, interesting.
I had a similar question written down, which is, do you let your players' choices have lasting effects on the world?
Yeah.
Yep. And
Totally.
we sort of
Depends on the
shuffle them around, like, you know, we have the base year that we think of it as, but sometimes our players, they'll be like 10 years earlier or something. So, you know, their story actually appears as like a bard's tale and something else.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and some things I don't want to give away too much. Like,
Yeah.
just in case, just in case.
Yeah, we gotta save. We gotta save.
Yeah, we threw up a picture of Elurian, but this was developed and shared with Jeremy really early on, so that we could talk about the kinds of places that we were pretty sure the players would go through the story. Because I did
this is guaranteed.
Yeah, I did
I
a
mean-
breakneck pace for this campaign where it was just like 2 days, they are loose in this town, they have to solve it. It's go, go, go.
It is very fast paced.
Should we point out what our props and everyone did with this, since we actually have it here?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
right
man.
here. That map is translated onto this amazing leather map behind me.
And we put that out on the gameplay table, and they put their minis on there and traveled through town. It was so awesome.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of that in the actual gameplay. Speaking of gameplay, so before we got too heavily into the world itself, we had to play the game, and we created a very cool set that we're playing our game in. And I mean, let's
Yeah. Jeremy did this design early on.
Yeah.
Jeremy, walk us through it.
Oh yeah, so this is back in the days before I learned how to use proper rendering software. So this is like collage art, which I honestly like a little better now that I've seen the 3D stuff. But this is essentially the games room tower that we played in. We went through a few renditions of like where the characters want to play the game. I know we were talking about like having them in a tavern at first.
Yeah, kind of, and then we decided that was overdone.
Yeah. And then,
We knew we wanted a 360 thing because everyone else, the cameras are very static, and we wanted the moving cameras for everything.
So I think that was actually our biggest challenge, was rather than having people up on a stage like we are right now, where we're facing essentially one direction with a few different cameras, we wanted to be able to capture a close-up on every individual character as they sat around a table with a moving camera. So we needed to figure out a way that we could shoot in a full 360 degrees, but not having the distraction of a camera and a little red light telling you which camera's going, and you know, you needed to make the space kind of believable. So we ended up building this castle set with kind of a rim of one-way glass that went around the whole thing, which, you know, looks a little out of place for a medieval set, but in the end it kind of fades into the background because you're focusing on the cast and the actors. And
Well, at one point we had a meta story that we scrapped that was that was explaining our presence in this room. Like, we would have had a full meta story where we were not just players, but people playing the players that got teleported into a room, and Roz was a
It was so complicated.
space
Ladies up.
overlord. It was
so
why are we
complicated.
doing
It was
this? This is a
very
hat, hat,
Mystery
hat.
Science Theater
Yes.
3000. We were all kidnapped, and Roz was this like Lady Zor, some
Yeah.
interstellar dictator that was forcing us to play games.
Yeah.
Okay, season 2. No spoilers.
Yeah.
And part of that was the justification of that window, of the viewing window, of saying that her planet was like the place that gaming is like their biggest form of entertainment, and they were filming us as entertainment for this.
I feel like it's a lot like, do you watch Earth to Ned? It's on Disney
No.
Plus. Oh my gosh, it's a space alien who zaps people up from Earth and interviews them on a talk show because he came to the planet to destroy the planet, but was like, I just love celebrities, and I'd like to interview them, and they're so fun. It's great. It's Muppet style. You'd love
Oh,
it.
I would
It's
love
by
it.
the Henson Studio.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh.
pretty much Conan with alien puppets.
Okay, that does sound fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I found though that when we walked onto this set,
Oh, that's
Oh wow.
I was instantly able to just kind of lose myself in the game.
Yes.
Even though we see there's like the windows and there were cameras there and lights above us and microphones at the table, that stuff just melted away so fast. And we were just able to get into the game and connect with the players and have just a great time. It was amazing.
It was. I hadn't played any D&D prior to starting training for the show and then shooting the show, and since have played. But like, you know, when you're playing around a table with friends and stuff, and everyone gets up and takes pee breaks, or food shows up and that kind of thing. Like, we knew we were shooting a show, and I think the set did really help us. And I mean, there was also funny elements of like I know that you guys in Set Deck planned a bunch of things.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know who all was involved in the decisions.
This is one of my favorite elements of this set, and I think it was Lizzie's idea, our set decorator, right off the bat in our set deck team, where they kind of planned out our, as much as we could plan, the storyline that you guys would be carried through. And when we started from Roz's left, we began at the beginning. And then as you wrapped around the set and revolved around all the characters, you went to all the different areas. So there was little aspects of the show
I'd never
in a
So
full circle
beautiful,
pan.
right?
I didn't know that. I knew that there were hidden Easter egg stuff in there,
Yeah.
because we were, as players, we were always like, "What do you think this is? We should look for one of these. Like a barrel is important, like that kind of a thing."
Yeah.
But I didn't know till right now that it was a calendar.
Yeah, it was fully cyclical. And,
That's cool.
Yeah, that's super cool.
All of the dressing that you see there is stuff that was going to
timeless.
and has and will continue to appear in all the future sets that we do. So, you know, like a lot of the greenery that's right behind Roz is the beginning and I don't want to spoil too much of the story, but you know, we'll see the rune set
Word.
later. But resembling that, and then we kind of have
Oh,
some elements of the town
yeah.
and the blacksmith and the castle.
And elements from every player as well, right? Like you can see we have a paladin in the show, so there's a, phoenix and sword there, and little things that kind of came in from everybody that was contributing. It was so collaborative, which is my favorite part about D&D is collaborative storytelling. And then this was a collaborative process with all of the departments that we're going to, maybe talk to on the show, Filthy Talk. So great. It was just a beautiful experience playing the game and participating in planning each week. And every week I'd have to check in with all the team leaders to be like, hey, this is what's going to happen. I think this is what's happening next week. And
Yeah, 'cause
early
like
on, having to make the decision with Jeremy
Wild cards all the time.
to not burn the town down.
Not burn the town. Can we move that to a place that we maybe could burn down?
Yep. I just really wanted a whole fire thing at the end. Damn it!
No spoilers. Don't tell them if.
There may be. Where's my camera? There's no red light. Oh no.
I had a thing for Matt. What was it? It was okay. So, as a player, because again, Matt's one of the players in the game, but you helped create the world. And did you find that the knowledge, the intimate knowledge you have of the world, had an influence over how you played the game or interpreted info that you were getting?
It certainly affected how I played it. And I actually created my character based around the fact that I would know a lot about the world, even though I didn't know anything about the town. Roz pretty much created the town, and then she was like, it needs these things, and I drew a map.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, the character I created is from that nation, and so it makes sense that he would know those things, but I didn't know anything
Smart.
about the story.
Yeah.
It's
almost
Roz
like cheating.
did a great job keeping all that secret from me.
That was the one thing that we could say is that Jeremy knew more than you guys going into it, and you're producing the show and you're creator of the world with me, but like we kept it secret to the point where almost to a detriment of us being like,
Yeah, it was difficult. That was a difficult process.
That was a really funny dynamic, though. If like we were trying to get, our showrunner's approval on certain aspects, but also keep him in the dark at the same time because he was a character on the show, so we couldn't.
There was a certain point where Chris Livingston and I just like we were dead set with the secrecy thing, and at a certain point we said we need to scale that back a little because it got very difficult.
we're building a thing. You don't know anything about it, but trust me, we need this cash.
Yeah, it was super vague to get approvals. It was like, this will work. It was like, what?
Rumors are always more scary than the reality.
Yeah, there was
Although we're going to show like
get that.
that first room that we want to show some images of that you guys actually built, but this was the design for it. I mean, this is intense.
Yeah, this was, one of the coolest things here was repurposing. Like, so we had our gameplay set that you saw, and then for our reenactments, we turned around, we took all the gameplay stuff out of there, and this became an actual set from the gameplay.
Yeah. And that was the whole reason that we shot that set first, was it was kind of that practical requirement over story, where it's, okay, we have this set already here, what could we possibly use it for that still fits within the story? Which I love about what we do here, there's no waste. We try and get the most out of anything that we can. So we had this amazing tower set, so, who would be in the tower? Well, it's the chair, Hammerlane, so we turned it into this fantastic office with the help of some incredibly creative set dressing. And if we go to the next photo, you can see what that looks like. This is just a quick rendering, but.
Yeah, that's a really impressive transition from here's what we want it to look like to here's what it looks like.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Being in this, like just walking into this room every time we were doing the shoot for this section, just every day was so delightful. And it just felt like Hammerlane, who's this kind of crotchety dwarf who runs the town. And she's just such a badass, crazy lady. And the room is just her. Every element that you guys picked up on from the way I was doing storytelling, you've thrown all of it in there. It was amazing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Ryan!
If I could live there, I would. Like, I cannot express just the sheer feeling of like magic walking into that set for
was a
the first
magical
time.
room.
Like it felt more magical than almost any place that I'd ever been, which is kind of remarkable for something that, in a sense is like fake movie magic. Like it really had some real magic to it. Like it was incredible.
And there's Tracy's owlbear painting that's behind you.
Yeah.
That she made for the space.
Yeah,
that
I
we're doing.
couldn't
It's
give
amazing.
more credit to our set tech team and really the whole art department team altogether, because this was one of those sets that really came down to a time crunch. So we had everybody within construction and props and paint, and everybody was in there at the end just really lending a hand. And the amount of detail I think in this set was, at least to me, was what made it so impressive.
Oh, yeah.
You
It
could
felt
look
lived in.
into any corner and you would find a fully realized, fully fleshed out, and just realistic and true to who Hammerlane was, little vignette. So there was an alchemy corner. There was scrolls that were all handmade by Set Deck, and books that were handmade. Tracy's painting and props came in, and they made these really cool little alchemy jars with dried flowers and skulls, and just the amount of layers that went into that one was
Just awesome.
just incredible.
And on this angle, you can see that you guys actually did out down the hallway. So there's these two doors here in the middle of this.
Yeah, and this,
Oh,
so this
yeah.
was our gameplay set. The bulk of the office, the circle of the office, was where we did the gameplay, and then we built off of that to extend it, because during gameplay all that hallway was not there, and then we had that built out to realize the castleness of it.
Yeah.
That's not
And movie magic cheat, right? Like
Yeah.
this is just this hallway.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's like again one of those decisions that, because of the the practical requirements of filming something, how that influences the actual world itself. Where the way that the story was described, the doors remained open during the entire scene. So we had to build some sort of hallway that would show you beyond the door. And then once we had that hallway in place, it was like, okay, well, what else can we use this hallway for now that we've spent the time and construction's put up this fantastic hallway?
And then, so you had a design of the hallway.
Yeah, so there's a quick render of what the hallway would look like that we would attach on that then Michael and our construction team did an amazing job building.
And you guys turned it into this. It's incredible.
Yeah, and then there's an actual photo of it. So through those doors would be back to the office.
Yeah.
So awesome. And then what it looked like I, with Trevor's permission, pulled a little piece from the show that when, just from dailies. Yeah, some guards in this hallway hanging out, doing their thing.
Because we redressed this. Did you have an idea of what the shape of the palace was?
Yes, a little bit. Because it's called the Palatinate. And so it's kind of shaped like a octagon. But it would be offices and then hallways in, long hallways, offices, long hallways, offices.
Oh, okay. I've still got my own vision in my head of what it looks like, and it's not that.
we were living and breathing octagons for a while because we had the town was set up in the octagon, and then the Palatinate was set up in an octagon, and then the castle in the center was an octagon.
Ah.
Yeah, it was part of the history in the world building was kind of they're very into circles, and so a lot of stuff was based around circles or octagons because they're easier for them to build.
It's the squared circle.
Yep.
As they call it in MMA.
Apparently, the octagon is the most easily recognizable shape.
Really?
That's why stop signs are built into octagons. You can see it from the back. You don't need to even see that it's a red color. You know that that's a shape. That's stop.
I did not know that. That's intriguing.
I actually have one question. While we're talking about stuff that was in there, and it's probably a better question for set deck, but you're who's here.
I'm all you got.
In the background, there was a Displacer Beast statue, which
it's right
We
there.
have it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is
Yeah,
here.
I was behind the TV.
That's why I
No one
was
can
sitting
see it.
here looking around while people were
Bring it out.
talking. Who made that?
That was built by Tim, I'm pretty sure. If I'm wrong, forgive me, but I'm pretty sure
it was built by Tim.
It started with a panther statue. And then he did some teeth, and then the Displacer Beast. I'm going to call them back tentacles. Forgive me if I'm wrong.
And an extra set of legs.
And
too.
an extra set of legs.
That was in Hammerlane's office, and it's been living on this set ever since.
Yeah, and that's just one of those things about the collaborative atmosphere of our show is there's things that I to this day am still a little bit unsure of what a Displacer Beast is, but then we have amazing teamwork and people like Tim who would take the initiative to just be like, oh, here's this cool statue that we got for the set. A panther's already cool, but let's turn it into something that's way more relevant to our world and
all the people who play D&D here, who are so passionate about throwing in all of these Easter eggs through the whole story, and being a part of the process with us. There may not be a player, but they are integral to creating Ready to Roll.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, it takes a village. I mean, this isn't a child. It's kind of a child. It's our collective child.
It's our super weird baby.
I wanted to ask you, Jeremy, what specific challenges or advantages did you, up to this point, did you come up against doing a show of this nature, like something that is not a traditional script? It's kind of weirdly fluid.
I would see. I always would lean towards challenges only because it's different than what you're used to, and I think it's only in retrospect that you realize that that was actually better than anything I've done. But at the first point, I think the biggest challenge to me was just not having a script that's placed in front of you, and then not having a director or showrunner that knows the whole story from start to finish right off the bat.
Right.
Because the traditional flow of my work would be I take the script, I break it down, and then I have a conversation with the director, and I just try to get their vision for it. Whereas here it was much more collaborative than that. So instead of a script, I had hours of gameplay footage that I would have to go back through multiple times to kind of hear how things were described and how they actually appear in the gameplay.
Well, and then
there's
on top of that, it's not like we're reenacting everything.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing, was we had to really choose, and we had to repurpose that space a lot. So we had that
and
hallway.
the show is it's gameplay first, so
Yeah.
like we're picking and choosing our scenes of reenactment so that it's more about the gameplay than the reenactment, and the reenactment is like embellishment, essentially, of what the gameplay was. But yeah, sorry, you're talking about turning around the sets.
Yeah, because that same space was going to have to work to do like you were saying, having to be really efficient, right? We have only so much space and only so many people. So you guys took that hallway and turned it into, we had travel through a dungeon. Why not?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's like, this is the space that we have, what can we fit in there? And then we ended up with this weird block shooting schedule where, we were just trying to fit every set we could into a certain area. And we went from, like, if you looked at the previous photo of the castle hall into the dungeon, we ended up with significant change, and that's just the
And this
the
is
same.
what it came out to look like. This
that's a
set
great
is one of
shot.
my favorite.
Oh, it looks so good.
It looks so good.
So, yeah.
The way the light came through the bars and the way the spaces, and we're so limited to have to try to cheat that these are deeper cells than they actually are, because it's just that same hallway.
No,
I mean,
I'm kidding. Yeah, no, I mean the amount of work it takes to make it look like it's not the same hallway so many times. But I mean, look at this. This doesn't look like the same hallway that we looked at just the last couple of times.
Ryan.
That's
Question for the chat,
Ooh.
more so, I suppose, for Matt and Roz as our world builders. But were there any locations in the world of Altero that you were particularly excited to see potentially realized in the real world?
We're going to show that one at the end for me. That's where we're currently shooting on.
Ah.
Yeah. I was just excited to see everything, but the one we look at, we'll talk about later. Because I had a whole thing when I was first surprised by it.
Let's move along through the spaces, but let's get there because it is really awesome. This one is a shot from the show. In that same hallway, we also had to cheat some other spaces to get something filmed, and so we filmed an office, which is hilariously small.
Yes.
That's me.
It's about the size of my office.
No, it's smaller. It's smaller, but yeah, it was funny
Floor's
because
probably flatter.
there's another office that we were supposed to go to, and it's described as a small office, but not as a comically small office. But I mean, the show does have a lot of comedy in it just because of the way we played.
Yeah, you guys are full of
So-
shenanigans.
Oh, fully shenanigan-oriented people.
And they went into this small office and knocked a bunch of stuff around. So when Jeremy designed it and then the team built it and brought it together, they're knocking stuff around partially because they're just knocking stuff off things because they don't fit in the space, and partially because they're assholes.
Yeah.
this whole set was built in the return of the set. It's the spot that the cast is meant to walk to exit the stage, to exit the set, and then they disappear from camera. So, but we use that for a set.
But it was
We had
also this part of when this was the dungeon, this part of it was also a cell, like a deeper cell where we actually can go into, as opposed to the ones that you were saying were shallow.
Yeah.
Are you ready to see?
Without saying anything else.
So I think turning around stuff like that, it's the creativity of our construction department, of our paint department, to be able to take one space and turn to something completely new.
Oh, yeah.
And also definitely our cine department.
Oh
because
yeah, the
if
way
you
you
look
light
at
it
the
and
lighting,
shoot it. Oh my God.
yeah, if you look at the lighting of outside of the really royal prestigious daylight to something like the dungeon, you're never going to be able, no matter how beautiful it looks, it's not going to look the same until it's lit.
This
In a
is
way
very
that
true.
changes the area and the atmosphere and the space.
That's something we're going to explore a little bit more next week on Filthy Talk. But we're not leaving yet. There's more to come today.
So one of the first things, we start our show in a location that I talked about with Jeremy very much from the very beginning. And I said, I want to have some ruins. And he was like, that sounds great. And I was like, I want upside down pyramids. And so we started talking about what that would mean. And that they would be old and buried in the ground. And what could this look like? And I was like, I'm going to describe it as a bunch of upside down pyramids in the ground. And he's like, okay, great.
So this is one of the things where I did know about it a little before filming because I'd seen the thing that Props had made for the miniatures, and the first time I saw it, I was just like, what is this? Because we'd spent so much time talking about the importance of circles and everything in this, and I'm like,
Oh.
what the hell are these upside down pyramids?
Oh.
And then Roz explained it to me, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. It's like, don't worry, there's a reason.
Right.
Wait, if I just turn this.
Something I have always wondered is, and you may not be able to answer this without spoiling things, but were the pyramids originally right side up, and did they get flipped? Or did they get built that way? And if so, how high did they go originally before they were in current ruin form?
I think I know the answer, but Roz can correct me. Because I always
Go,
default
Jeremy.
to Roz on situations.
Go, Jeremy.
In my head, they were built that way. They were not flipped. Because are these spoilers? Cut me off if I'm giving any spoilers.
So far, you're good. So far, you're on the right track.
Because in the Lek Empire, there was a lot of pyramids that were built, and the pyramid has a lot of symbology of the top pointing towards God. And in this particular grove, God is the earth, so you would have the ruins pointing downwards, and now the point is pointing towards.
Right.
Nailed
Did
it.
they originally go way higher up and then they've since crumbled down, or did they
Yes.
go far down into the ground?
They would have
or-
gone a little bit higher up, and the roofs on the inside have all caved in since then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What we're seeing here is thousands and thousands of years old and has been preserved a little bit by magic.
Because I also could have seen some pissed off wizard came along and casted like an inversion spell on your pyramids and was just like, your pyramids are
case-
upside down now.
It's a tease for Matt's character that they're upside down because he would know that there's more to them, and that it would be, a very interesting thing that they're upside down and why and all of this stuff. So that when his character got to the ruins, he was like, oh my gosh. And he did lose his mind a little bit, and it was great.
So this is the set that, so because our gameplay set was the Castle Tower, that was the first block of reenactments that we were shooting. And currently, we are in this set. So that was the concept, and this is the realization of,
There's
of
Trevor.
what we're shooting there. Oh yeah.
There's Matt.
Look, it's the whole family.
So yeah, there's going to be, as you can see, a lot of blue screens and some set extensions to do, but there's a lot of stuff that happens within this area because, as it turned out in gameplay, we didn't really explore the outsides of what we had as a miniature.
Thank God.
Yeah, you guys just kind of go down this alley.
Yeah.
Somewhat by design. We kind of funnel you in there with some things that happen, so that you have to sort of be in this narrow space, which was sort of the plan. But we did build the miniature board that came out was quite a bit bigger, but trying to funnel you guys into this area because Jeremy was like, we can only build so much.
I certainly, though, never felt in gameplay that you were, if I was like, I want to explore this corner of the thing, at no point did you say you can't. So that could have been limiting to us. But then again, we can pick and choose what we actually show in reenactment versus what sometimes we can't show everything. So, yeah.
Well, I didn't expect you guys to go in the well, that's for sure.
There were a
Twice.
few things that
3 times.
places we went that you were clearly having to make up on the fly, although it didn't seem that way at the time because we'd be like, she's hinting for us to do this.
Yeah,
So we'd really push to do that. And then watching the footage later, I was like, the DM is clearly telling us not to do the thing that we're doing.
Yeah. But we were so distrustful.
Yeah.
You mentioned something and then say not to do it, and we were like, screw you, Mom, we're doing it.
I imagine that made a lot of
not your
challenges
dad.
for you because she's having to make up locations on the fly, which means they're not always consistent between episodes, as she has to describe somewhere that she just made up last episode and is not part of the plan.
But surprises just make it more interesting for everyone, I think.
It's a lot of fun.
And then the important thing is what this place looks at night, which we featured in a previous Witchcraft Labs episode.
Before we flip it, I was going to say my favorite part about this photo is that Trevor Adams clearly did not clean up after his ping pong tournament the night before. Like, sloppy.
Visual effects, come on.
I miss that ping pong table, Jeremy.
Yeah.
I miss it.
I love seeing an evenly lit blue screen. Okay, yeah, what this place looked like at night, which is crazy.
Oh yeah, if you check out, there's a Witchcraft Labs episode up on the channel.
Already put it in the chat.
Oh, you
Oh,
did?
baby.
Okay, we'll link in the chat to Bioluminescence because this is what the ruins look like at night.
Yeah, I can't wait till this one gets seen and is released as an episode. Seeing what our set deck team and also our lighting team went through with this one just to get this practical bioluminescent effect capturing camera.
It was another magical set, as you were saying, about like Hammerlane's office had a very magical vibe, and this had another different magical vibe.
Yeah, we kind of just knew with the timeline of this one that we weren't going to have the time or the resources to do, something of like the Avatar level effect in visual effects in post after. So we were trying to get as much as we can captured in camera, and yeah, it turned out fantastic.
Oh, it turned out amazing.
It was very easy to act in awe when our characters first show up in this place because it was awe-inspiring.
It was really, and is. It's very cool too. I mean, we said was because we shot that part already.
We're still shooting on this set, but
We're
yes.
still shooting on it, but we're done with the nighttime look. We're in daytime right now.
The challenges of having a lot of electrical lights and a set that you need to water regularly continues to be a problem.
Right, I forgot. I don't think about that very often, but yeah, we water it because we have actual like live plants.
Yeah, it's probably about, I'd say like 65-35% silk faux plants to live plants.
Wow.
So there is kind of a little greenhouse going on in there right now, and we put up grow lights every weekend, and we have them on a little bit of a growing cycle that allows the plants to, I don't want to say flourish, but live. They are surviving. They're moderately content.
That is super impressive. I had no idea there were actual, that was a thing you had to do for this place.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts about it is when you guys turn the fan on and you see them just like gently wafting.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so beautiful, the footage. Oh.
Yeah, our team is doing an amazing job with this. Oh man. In all aspects, I'm super pleased with this shoot.
It's so humbling
unreal.
as a DM, and I tried not to get emotional some days when I would come to the set and people would be like, "Hey, do you love it?" And I would be like, "It's pretty good."
Get emotional.
Well, it's.
I mean, how does that feel as the people who built the world to see it realized in live action? Like, what does that feel like?
It feels amazing.
Yeah.
Stuff that just kind of lives in your head and. To actually see it, it's unreal. Like, it's so good. Cool.
Sometimes I just come upstairs from being down, as everybody's setting up and stuff, and I'll just see Jeremy and I'll be like, "Oh, it's a pandemic, but I'll hug you someday. I'll hug so hard." It's just a delight and a pleasure, and I'm just so thankful for you and your team and all the work that they've done and that we're going to do, because as we're shooting this set, you're sending in the sketches for the next place that we're going to go to, and it's my heart is so big.
Okay.
Yeah, but before we leave, Jeremy has one more thing he wants to talk about.
While we were just talking about sets, I wanted to show my favorite set. So if we could bring up a photo of the Filthy Talk set.
Oh.
That would be the best.
This set.
The Filthy Talk
yes.
show? You guys know it? Oh, here's the Filthy Talk show. This is it.
What the hell?
This was my favorite episode, actually. I don't know if we'll ever top this one.
Wow. I also want to say a shout out to Jeremy for the super rad spaceship set he designed for a show that we're maybe never going to do, but it was a really cool spaceship
It'll
set.
happen.
I mean, yeah, we still have the design, we still have the script.
Yeah.
It's just
We might get back to it someday. But
Yeah.
No, yeah.
We might go back to the well.
Depending on, I want to continue writing that.
It's great.
a great show.
Oh my gosh, so many things.
So looks like I'm Adam West Batman.
Yeah.
Nor is Jar Jar. Is that Kedrock?
Makes
Is Lou Ferrigno Hulk?
Yeah.
Who's Grogu?
Grogu? That is Grogu.
It's just Grogu.
Yeah.
is he blue?
It was
These
so
are
good of
these
him
are
to
the
come here.
most.
Are you
in
sure that's
some
not
people's opinion.
Stitch? Blue.
Is Grogu based off Stitch? That's a good question.
Oh, that's a good question.
It is Disney.
Yoda is just a Stitch ripoff.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, people.
Yeah. In some people's opinion, these are the most iconic characters in all of fandom.
Jar Jar?
Oh my God, Jar Jar. Yes.
The secret
100%
Sith
Jar
Lord?
Jar.
The master manipulator of the entire Star Wars universe? The power behind Palpatine? I mean, come on.
Yeah. There's a strong and I will say growing Jar Jar fan club out there.
I feel like Jeremy's gonna have to come on an episode of Nerd Fight.
Oh, yeah.
And
I will defend Jar Jar to the bitter end.
Because remember, Jar Jar is now more than 20 years old, so there are a lot of people that like Jar Jar was their Ewoks, and they're just like, screw it, I love it, despite the fact that
Whole
you.
generation of kids growing up who don't hate Jar Jar. They think Jar Jar is dope.
I don't hate Jar Jar.
I do.
Jar Jar was absolutely silly, and that's okay.
Even Clone Wars couldn't make Jar Jar good.
But so
and
were
Clone
Ewoks.
Wars
Like,
made Anakin good.
Jar Jar is not meant to be cool.
Return of the Jedi came out today, people will be like, Ewoks are stupid. But because it came out back in the day, we all have nostalgia for it, so we think it's great.
Here's the thing. Ewoks are little teddy bears. They're little bears. They're
In loincloths with spears that say jump jump?
Bears that are
Murder machines.
They're murder
They're so
machines.
awesome.
They were gonna eat everyone before C-3PO like even he could talk to them, and they were like, nah, we're gonna eat these guys until he like displayed godly powers. They were like,
Guys,
oh crap. So
Trevor's
once they
in
were
a Star Wars loop.
Oh, sorry.
And we almost
it's gonna
did
be
one
Star
filthy
Wars
talk.
for the rest of the episode.
But,
Amazing,
like,
amazing.
The new Star Wars stuff. That's I can't. I gotta stop
can't,
myself.
you can't,
I stop
you
myself.
The only thing I like about Jar Jar is the idea that Jar Jar is actually force sensitive, and that's why screwing up all the time actually turns out well.
Oh, he's like a drunken monk.
Yeah.
I mean, you've read the whole fan theory about him being like a secret Sith,
Secret
right?
Sith Lord, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise it was crazy that they made him responsible for like giving.
Okay, so some other time, Secret Star Wars
Sorry,
things.
people talking
This is a
Star
Star
Wars.
Wars thing.
I'm wearing my Vader shirt. I got my Star
I
Wars
know,
mask.
it's time.
Okay.
time.
Wrap it up.
Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for creating the world. Thank you for helping realize it in such a large way. And there is a lot more to come about Ready to Roll in the coming weeks and months. Like I said, Drawn and Cornered on our Filthy Fandom channel this Sunday. Oh no, I don't know what we're releasing next week.
Mech Vlog!
Mech Vlog. We have a Mech Vlog coming, long time coming, next week on this channel. And then tune in next Friday for another Filthy Talk. Until then, stay filthy.